Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back, and welcome to the house of an air gunner. Couple of addicts. Yeah, we got boxes sitting around for targets. Well, I can't store them outside because they're gonna get destroyed. Anyways, so we are both air gun freaks in this house. I'm just the bigger freak of the two of us. My wife's into guns too. Check out her channel, Susan Millard. In the meantime, a big thank you goes out to Travis at Air Gun Source for sending me this Umarex AirJavelin to check out and review. So, let's dive into this puppy. When you unpackage the box, you will get your gun, of course. You're going to have to install your sights, install your cocking handle. No, the bipod does not come with it. I bought that separate. You will get 3 arrows. Make sure when ordering your gun, you also order CO2 gas, okay? Or pick some up locally to wherever you are. You will require normally a 88 or 90 gram CO2 bottle. Be aware, JT bottles have stickers on them. You will have to remove the sticker. I did not know that I had to do that at first. I learned the hard way that the sticker causes some problems, which I will get into showing you guys. However, if you can't find any locally in stock, or Air Gun Source still doesn't have these back in stock at the time, but if they do, order as many as you can. They go out of stock fast, man. Everybody's buying air guns like crazy mad. Even some of the guns I wanted to buy in the last few months are like still not back in stock. It's like, I want my guns. Anyways, so we have some alternatives that Air Gun Source does carry, one of which is a single 12 gram adapter. You will get 6 shots out of this sucker for every single 12 gram CO2 bottle. And it has the appropriate threads, pop her in, away you go. Now with this kind of an adapter, you do have to, of course, disassemble first. Screw this into the gun and lock it in hand tight. You don't actually have to put a wrench on this. Some guns you would, but this one you actually don't. As soon as it stops, just give it a little extra force twist with your fingers, and that's all you need to do, because you can snug it up a little further if required once you ignite your bottle, because you then load in a 12 gram CO2. Now this adapter is not friendly with Crosman CO2 bottles. It will destroy the inner O-ring in here. Mind you, they do give you 2 spare O-rings, but the idea is to not have to change this O-ring very often. So use either Swiss Arms, Umarex, or Sig Sauer 12 gram CO2, which also is carried at Air Gun Source. Well, they don't do the Swiss Arms, but they do carry Umarex and Sig Sauer. Okay, and I believe they also carry Crosman, but like I said, this adapter is not friendly with Crosman bottles. Been there, done that. Real pain to get the bottle out of the back end too. I don't know what it is, but it does. Anyways, this adapter, however, is the Umarex one, which Umarex does recommend that you can use with this gun instead of the 88 or 90 gram bottles. Okay, it works absolutely perfect with this gun, no hassles. It's a small enough diameter, there's no interference issues anywhere either. It's hex shaped, which is kind of cool. And it's also self-resealing, so you can unscrew it, and even though there's still gas in here, it'll stay. This is a bulk fill chamber. So you put one bottle in facing the tip, the other bottle facing the back. This screw-in piece is what you use to puncture your back bottle with. The front one gets punctured as soon as it hits the front of that valve thing and pushes in on the piercing pin assembly. Now, you will get 9 to 11 shots out of this, 6 tops out of this one, and you will get, depending on the weather, I saw one YouTube channel, 16-degree weather inside his shop, 16 Celsius. He got 40 shots out of this sucker. Umarex does rate the gun for 27 shots. You can actually read the box. The box says 30 shots. Your 30th shot should be about 195 feet per second, which is 14 foot-pounds of energy still. Still very lethal for small game hunting. This gun is a fun archery gun for target shooting and whatnot, also classed as more than suitable for small game hunting. And yes, for all fellow Canadians like myself, we are allowed, no problems, to hunt small game with this particular arrow gun. Okay, so we get our 3 bolts with it with field tips. You can put on 50 grain broadheads. Put on 100 grain if you want, but you're going to have to re-sight in, you're going to lose a little bit of speed, which is not going to be a real break-it deal anyways. You're not going to lose that much speed, but you lose a bit. But it does come with 50 grain field points on it. I did buy some 100 grain broad points. broadheads that I'm going to use for hunting purposes. But otherwise, you do have these, great for targeting. Shoot in the box, you can pull them out real easy. Don't shoot at boxes with broadheads. You're going to go in, but you ain't getting it out one piece. So use the field tips. Now you can buy extra arrows as well from Airgun Source for this gun too, and it's going to cost you $59 for a box of 6. The gun is $329. I say it's a great deal either way, and there's not much bad to report about this gun. Okay, so what are the bad points? Well, the CO2 thing I mentioned. If you buy any 88 or 90 gram CO2 bottles, regardless of brand, if they have stickers on, it's going to cause an interference problem. Okay, when they built this gun and designed it, they should have actually had this thing come a little bit more this way, because to get a slice of paper in between the bottle and this ridge where the rest of this thing actually slides over, you can't even really fit a piece of paper in there without forcing it in there. It's that close quarters. And the JT bottles with the stickers, because these are JT bottles, just no sticker anymore, they were colliding with the molding joint actually. Let me just take the bottle out, right in here, okay, where the seam is. It's kind of risen a bit. If that was actually straight out and flat, well, then you probably wouldn't have a problem. I did have a problem though putting the bottle in and getting it back out afterwards, so I actually took my last 2 bottles and asked my wife to kindly remove the stickers and get rid of the residue, and then of course soap and water wash the bottles, dry them off really good so they're clean, and now there's absolutely zero interference issue. Now you can buy CO2 bottles, 88 and 90s, that don't have stickers. It's just like ink printing. That's not a problem. It's just when you have the sticker involved, that's where a problem can occur. That is one of my nitbits about this gun. Okay. Other than that, I don't really have much bad to report. I actually have discovered that I was the problem when it came to sighting in the gun with the Peep Sight, because I'm not used to shooting with Peep Sights. I shoot with either scopes or standard everyday blade sight on an air rifle. This is not your typical air rifle. This is an arrow shooting gun, and it has a Peep Sight. And you got to be right on top of that Peep Sight, apparently kind of like this, to get your biggest sight picture, because if you're back further, it's going to cause you a lot of grief. I watched a video on this actually about an hour ago, and I found out that's where I went wrong, and so I really didn't have to have everything close in like this. I could leave it out like other channels did, because I couldn't understand how it is they have them out and they're still shooting at like 20, 30 yards or more away with open sights, and it's like, I can't get 12 yards out of this thing, barely, with it, the elevation being way up and close together. Well, it was me. Okay, so I'm the bad on that. So I can't see nothing about the sights. They're great sights. The gun is deadly accurate. Even how I had it set up and finagled for me to shoot it and get the bullseye on the bullseye lining up, I did actually do quite well. This is actually the box I was shooting at. It was laying down on its side, so this is my first shot. And then we eventually crept up and got around into here. And 2 of these shots belong to my landlord, because he came by after the video and said, hey, can I take another shot at that thing? Because he shot at it in the shop when I was doing the croning video for you guys. And he pulled the trigger, you know, just at the box. I just said, just aim and pull the trigger. And he was like, wow! And he's like, I might have to get one. And then today, of course, doing the accuracy video, he put 2 arrows through it. And he's like, I really think I need to get one. And so yeah, he's pretty excited. I'm still very excited about the gun. I'm still like, this thing is really cool, and I have some plans for some upgrades like quiver and this and that, and going full commando tactical with this thing. It's cool. I'm really liking the gun. Now, there are some things you need to know about this thing too, by the way. So I do have that one complaint, and of course nothing's actually perfect in life, which is why our star ratings are never 5 stars on this channel, okay? And regardless whether I buy a product or whether a company sends me a product, I give you guys the goods to my opinion, okay? Because it's like, this is my opinion, this is what I think about it, you know? And so, let's get started. You have a 5-position stock, okay? It's just a matter of clip and lock, away you go. You got 5 full positions on this, ideal for any size shooter, so fully extended. Even I'm still comfy with this, but it brings my eyeball too far away from the Peep Sight. So actually, to get on top of the Peep Sight properly, I need to do it like this, okay? But I could probably get away with it in a, well, I can still do it there, no problem. Third position, yeah, I'm kind of pushing it in the third position for me. But everybody's bodies are different, so this is ideal for pretty much anybody to shoot. Very lightweight too. It's full polymer construction. Some would call it plastic, but it's not your general plastic. It's actually better. It's polymer, so it's actually a lot more durable stuff and a lot more durability for cold as well. So very cool with the retractable stock. These 2 little caps, by the way, if you're wondering, they're not covered in the manual as to what they're for or if they come off. They do come off. I've watched another channel on this, and I asked another YouTuber actually who got on my channel, but I think it was with this gun. I said, how did you get those caps off? And he told me, so it's like I tried it. It's like, yeah, that actually works, cool. And then you can put 2 12-gram bottles on either side, so extra CO2 storage, especially if you're using one of these 2 adapters. Hey, it's great to have the extra storage right in your buttstock of your gun, okay? So that's awesome. You do have a cross block safety, of course. Trigger pulls about 4 pounds. It's a 2-stage trigger. It's very crispy let off once you hit that 2nd stage in there. Really cool. Ambidextrous stock, ambidextrous grip, ambidextrous for the cocking handle. You can screw this handle in on either side, because when you unpackage this thing from the box, you have to install the sights yourself and the cocking handle. So you can have it on either side. So try it on one side. If you don't like it after a while, go to the other side. It's up to you. And whether you're a left or right hand shooter, it doesn't matter, because some people are lefties like me and we prefer the handle on the other side. I prefer it on the right hand side. So it's personal preference too at the same time. So great for everybody. Alright. Picatinny rail all the way throughout. You can commando this thing right out. M-LOK rails on the side. I put my own bipod on, so no, it does not come with a bipod. I put my own on. And of course, we take this off. We put our bottle in. Now, lube point number 1 is in here. Okay, so you put a couple drops of oil on the top, a couple drops around the side just above the threads, and then of course finagler in there, because there is an upper O-ring that needs to get lubed, which is why you put it just above the threads as well, and you can get that other O-ring lubed. And you do that every couple of bottles, okay, every 2-3 bottles type of thing. Now, you cannot leave this thing loaded with gas in it at all times for long, well, you can't leave it for long-term storage, okay? Umarex tells you in the manual, do not use long-term storage of CO2 gas in the gun because it can damage the seals, which they're quite correct. You can, all right? So a couple of days ain't going to hurt it. A week, not going to hurt it. But anything much more than that, it could start causing what's called seal impression, okay? Which means, you know, some of these bottles don't have exactly the same exact thing going on with their tips, so that could be where an issue could be caused, which can happen on a lot of pistols, right? And other types of CO2 guns using 12-grammers. Well, the same sort of deal could happen here in that case. Or maybe it does actually do some other damage we're not aware of. However, follow the manual, do as you're told, and everything should work out fine. I only have certain guns now that I only store CO2 in them for the long haul because they can more than handle it. It's not a big deal, okay? But the majority of my guns I do not store with gas in them. Even some of my bulk fill guns I don't store with gas in them, okay? Not that I'm worried about damaging seals. I'm just, it's an experiment at this point. Anyways, the secondary lube point, the arrow, okay? Every 25 shots, you have to put a drop or 2 of, they recommend RWS silicone chamber lube, but you can also use Craftsman silicone chamber lube, or any silicone lube that is pure and does not have any petroleum distillants in it. Then it's safe to use with the O-rings. And the idea behind this is, number 1, silicone chamber lube is very, very thin, okay, which is a good benefit, okay. The other thing is it's going to help lube this to get it on and off that O-ring all the time, because this locks into an O-ring for maximum seal. So when the gun fires, all the gas gets into the arrow to fire it out, and it's not peeing at the back end of the arrows. Okay, so when you load the arrow into the front here, you also have to give it an extra bit of force forward, or backwards, sorry, till you feel it click into place. Then it is securely locked into place and safe. Okay. When you ignite a bottle in this thing, you must cock the gun first, put it on safe, then you can put in your bottle of choice, adapter or bottle, it's up to you. Air Gun Source does also carry these, by the way. Anyways, the reason for that is if you don't cock it, it's going to piss a lot of gas out the barrel tubing in the front until the valve gets fully charged with enough pressure to lock the valve stem up against the seat, because this is a very heavy hammer. So when you fire this gun, you can hear that's quite the thump. You can feel the thump in the gun too. Okay, so that's about the only amount of recoil you're really going to totally experience. You'll get a little bit of extra recoil out of the gas, but not a whole lot. But it's a backward shove, which is kind of nice. But because of that heavy hammer resting against the stem, they use a very light-duty return spring on the valve stem, so it's very easy to crack it open. Not when it's under pressure, though, so the hammer can rest against it when it's under pressure, and it won't pee out gas. But when you already have no gas in the gun and you're about to put gas in, that stem is already cracked, and it will allow gas flow through until enough gas fills up that valve to seal it. Okay, on your final shot out of your bottle, okay, whether you get 30 or 40 shots, 6 shots, or 9 to 11 shots, whichever, your last and final shot, you will hear a sound kind of like this. Okay, that's called very little gas. That's all that's left, and it's not enough to hold the stem shut. Therefore, it allows it to drain out the system and out the front of the barrel safely. So this way, you can remove the bottle of choice adapter, and there won't be any gas in there to whoosh out at your face or your hands, because CO2 gas is extremely cold. It's cryogenic temperature type of gas, so it can actually hurt you if it gets sprayed at high pressure at you. So that's a nice feature, that it actually pisses the remaining little that there is out the front. Okay, but do remember to always cock this gun first. Now, I have tried this as an experiment. Okay, I tried it without cocking the gun. I did lose gas pressure, yes, and it sealed up just fine once enough pressure was in there. And of course, I've tried it by cocking it first, and I've lost 0 gas. So there's a reason why they give you an instruction manual to read. You really need to read the manual for your guns so that you get to learn and know each and individual gun in your collection. Okay, so follow that, and you'll be good to rock and roll. So, my only complaint is really with the CO2 bottle thing, with having the stickers on there. It's a problem. You're going to have to take the stickers off if you're using 88 or 90s. I found that the performance, even at 8 degrees, out in the shop shooting this thing and outside with the accuracy testing, these things performed really well considering it was 8 degrees outside. They got very good results. Okay. We also found out during the accuracy testing that by the time I got to this bottle, which was the last bottle up for grabs on the day, because I did this all in reverse, because this does get a lot of shots. Even at 8 degrees, this thing gets a lot of shots, and I was not going to sit there and put you guys through the torture to see how many shots this bottle gets. So trust me, you're going to get between 30 and 40 shots out of this bottle, okay, in ideal shooting conditions. But this was so cold that the FPS on the initial shot, couple of shots, was lower than these two. Okay, in fact, this one was the warmest one of the 3 units, and this one, my first shot, was 291. So I see absolutely no issues whatsoever with this thing getting 300 plus feet per second in ideal weather shooting conditions. So CO2 gas is actually recommended for top performance at 70, I think it's 70 or 75 Celsius, or sorry, not Celsius, but Fahrenheit, and above, or 20 degrees Celsius and above is actually optimal for CO2 gas guns. Below that you will lose a bit of FPS, of course, which is standard procedure, and the colder it is outside, it can drop. And we are going to do some testing because I really like to know exactly how low this thing could drop. Like, just say for example you're going to do some small game hunting with this, because it's perfectly legal to do it, no problems there, even in Canada, yes. If you're going to go out, say, I don't know, 15, 20 below, which is like crazy cold, but it is Canada after all, I would like to know how much that pressure is going to drop, okay? And so I'm going to actually do some testing this winter to actually find those answers out, because I'm curious myself, because I want to get into small game hunting, and this is one of the weapons that I would like to be able to use for that, other than pellet guns, because this thing actually has a lot more authority behind it for small game, especially for the bigger small game type of stuff. But anyways, other than that, I can't really pick on it much. It's well built, it's lightweight, it looks to be very strong and durable in its design. It's loaded with some very nice features. At the same time, it's also very basic and straightforward. You know, I like the fact that even though it's not mentioned in the manual, you could actually store extra 12 grams CO2 in this thing. The arrows are extremely durable. Like, I was like beside myself for a second, because when I did the accuracy shots, one of the arrows hit square dead in the middle of the wood on my bench that I use for a shooting bench. It's actually a Black & Decker Workmate, so it's got the wood you know, vice pieces. I got right in the dead middle of that on that shot, and the arrow went in a little bit, and it split the wood pretty good. Didn't hurt the arrow one bit. Arrow still flies straight and true, so very, very good. So I do have some homework going back together to these sights to re-sight in once again with these sights set up in the alleged normal way, and learning how to use this Peep Sight system a little bit better before I throw a scope on it. But one way or another, a scope is going on this thing in the end. Okay, I gotta have a scope. It's just the way it is. Besides, it makes it look so much meaner, and it makes it that much more accurate with a scope too. So we didn't pull any Robin Hoods, but that's okay. I didn't want to anyways, so I kind of avoided the trap of even trying to pull a Robin Hood. Although I could have come pretty close there on a couple of those shots. Great all-around gun. I highly recommend it. Links are down in the video description below for Airgun Source for the page which contains this gun. I'm just going to put the main page so you'll actually see more than this gun there. You'll see the gun, you see the arrows, you see the Umarex Air Saber there, and a few other arrow shooters on that page. Also links to all the videos on this as well. Do take the Corona results, like I said, with a grain of salt, because it was 8 degrees outside when I did that. As far as accuracy goes, it's a real-time world, man. We start out with factory setup, see where it hits, and then we adjust from there and we see what we get. And now that I actually understand more about how a Peep Sight system works that I didn't know, I'm sure that the next accuracy video I do with this thing will be far superior to my first one. And we will do a video on that once I get that done, because we do have, it turns out, some more nice weather creeping around the corner. So I'm going to do some shooting over the next few days and see how much better I can improve my skills, and a little bit of extra range maybe with this gun too once I get it dialed in where I need it. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Trevor from Airgun Source, for sending me this thing to check out. It is a fantastic gun. And guys, even if you don't get a chance to pull the trigger first and get excited, just go buy one, because you gotta have one. These things are really, really cool machines. They are a lot of fun. Even if you're not gonna hunt, you're just gonna target practice, this is so much fun. You know, it really is an awesome piece of machinery. And that's it. So we'll catch you later. Thank you for watching. If you're not subbed, please do so. Smash the bell for notifications, because we got some more gun stuff on the way for you guys too. So see ya.